Welcome to the Coffee Advent Calendar, day 5. I'm your hostess, Mandy Thompson, and today we're going to cover a topic that is really popular, which is how much you should be spending on your marketing. Of course, this is not a one-size-fits-all answer. There are lots of conditions, and we'll cover some of those today, and then we're going to cover some of them tomorrow. And while we are going through day 5 of the Marketing Advent Calendar, we will be brewing day 5 of the Coffee Advent Calendar from Onyx Coffee Labs. Today's coffee is a beautiful washed Ethiopian coffee, so that's going to have some nice floral, herbal, tea-like notes to it. So pretty excited for that one. And we're brewing again on the same thing we brewed on, I think, on day 1, which is the Origami Conical Brewer. So we'll go ahead and get that started while we talk a little bit about what to spend on marketing. So I want to talk about one of the probably one of the most basic concepts, which is thinking about your CPA, or what is your cost per acquisition. So to really know if your marketing campaigns are being successful or not, there are a lot of metrics we look at, there are a lot of things we consider, but we need to know what the target is for the cost per acquisition. All the time I have people say I don't want to spend more than $500, I don't want to spend more than $1,000, or this or that. And a lot of people don't know how much it costs them to actually obtain a customer. And that's a calculation, it gets a little bit outside of marketing, that's a business question. But it's important to know, what is your average annual contract value, lifetime contract or customer value? Because when you have that number, then you can start to work backwards to figure out whether you have, what your target CPA should be. Because some people, I'm going to give you a great example, legal. In legal, there are some keywords that we can target in Google, or that we can target in Google for things like personal injury, right? So we might have to spend, depending on what market somebody is in, $150, $250, over $300 on one click. Now some may say that's too expensive, but if we look at the average revenue that comes in to a law firm from a good personal injury case, we could definitely argue that it is worth that cost in order to get those leads. Now, other things are going to come into question, right? So we need to consider, in addition to this, other costs you have in actually converting that customer. So you might have the cost of your sales team, you might have the cost of gifts to that client. There might be other activities besides your paid ads that you need to consider when you're taking a look at what it should cost you. But another number that people will look at is the cost per MQL, or marketing qualified lead, or the cost per SQL, sales qualified lead. Then what you can do is bake in the costs that you have once your lead reaches sales. So another thing to consider when we're thinking about this marketing cost as well, and what we want to spend, is how well your team is set up to convert those leads into sales. So again, this is something we've run into where people hire a marketing company and then they don't have a great sales process in place. And so they get calls, they get form submissions, they get the conversions, but then they don't have a great process. So again, when you're thinking about what marketing budget is right for you, you also need to consider, well, what budget am I going to need to put into these other steps that I'll have to take someone from clicking on my ad to actually becoming a customer. So that is one part of considering your ad budget that is important to think about when you're asking, how much do I want to spend? So how much does it cost to get a lead? How many leads do you need to get your target number of sales? And that's a good place to start with how much you need to spend. But tomorrow, we're going to talk about this a little bit further. We're going to dive a little bit deeper and talk about actual campaign costs and how you can figure out how much you need to spend for a campaign itself to be effective. So we'll cover that tomorrow.